Welcome to another lesson about Bluefort's license and subscription app. It is embedded in Microsoft Dynamics 365 for finance and supply chain, otherwise known as finance and operations apps. In this lesson, we shall be discussing the subscription version functionality. This has been a long requested feature by our customers. And yes, it makes sense, so we have incorporated it in our backlog, and finally we are delivering it. So basically this feature allows you to enable the version tracking, where you could, by switching on the parameter, automatically have the system save a snapshot of your subscription plan setup at the point that is being published, so that you could also review it for future reference and have an audit trail of what happened. It is essentially very similar to the sales and purchase order confirmation journals. Those of you who are aware with the standard functionality, but anyway, I will show it to you here in this lesson. So the first step would be to go to the subscription management parameters and actually activate the functionality. So you have to say you have to enable your versioning functionality so that the system starts using the versions. There's also an extra integer parameter there, which is the retention time frames for the versions. So as you might imagine, in an enterprise setup where you have like thousands of subscriptions and contracts being generated, a lot of data may be generated from the versioning functionality. So it is recommended to actually run a batch job from the subscription management periodic tasks. Have a batch job running like every few months, where you would do the subscription plan version cleanup. And this batch job will clean up all versions which have been in the system for the number of days that you specify here. It is actually not recommended to set this number to a very low number, because then of course you would immediately lose the history. So for example, in this case, all my historical versions which are older than 30 days will be deleted by the batch job, which is of course defeats the purpose of actually creating the versions in the first place. But in real life you would put this something close to a few years, or something which is logical for your business. So now let's go ahead. Since this is enabled, we can go ahead to the subscription management cockpit. And actually there is nothing extra for the user to configure or do. So in this case I'm just going to create a normal subscription plan like I would do under normal circumstances, so nothing special here. So it's a standard monthly subscription plan, maybe rolling, and I will create my first line, let's say quantity 20, and starting from today. So nothing new here, and then I'll go ahead and publish. And now what happens is that if I go to subscription plan versions, there I will have a copy of my subscription plan, and it is tagged as version 1. And then if I go to the version details, it will also show me the subscription plan lines, which was only one. And here at the bottom I can see the line details with all the parameters that I usually have on my plan and plan line. I can run the master process as usual. As you can see as well, when you have versioning enabled, when you run the master process, the action is tagged to the version that generated the action. So if I click this one, I can drill down immediately to the detail of the plan version. I can go ahead and firm that out. Then let's go back to the unpublish button, and let's say then that I will change something here. So let's say, for example, I manually override price for the second cycle to be $200 per user per month. I can now publish again, and if I go to the version, now I have two versions, and in this new version I find the updated price, which is 200 with 4,000 monthly spend. And in this case again, of course, if I move now to the next cycle, usual disclaimer applies, don't use the test mode on production. I run the master process, and now I have the new price, and then I can firm this out. And then let's say someone down the line in the future comes to review this subscription plan and says, hey, how come for the first cycle you've charged the customer 180 and for the second cycle 200? In this case, they can see that those two actions maybe are different because they're based on two different versions of the of the subscription plan. So then he can say that, hey, in version 1 it's true, I had 180 sales price there, as you can see, while in version 2 it is the sales price is 200, as you can see. So that also helps down the traceability of why we have a different price for these two seemingly identical plan lines. So that's the story behind the subscription plan versions. I hope you find it useful. We had a lot of fun developing it on our end, and this also leads up to the next lesson, where we're going to discuss action reprocessing. Thank you for your attention.